Happy December and welcome to LCJ Live. It's the final month of 2024 and the box office is roaring, roaring. So much so that now animation is having its second best year ever. Thanks to Moana 2, thanks to all the movies that have come out since before this, and Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim opens in about 2 weeks. That'll add to that total along with all the money Moana 2 is going to make. It's a big day for the box office. Moana 2, Wicked, Gladiator 2, and Red 1, and all the other movies that are out in theaters making some money. We're going to break it all down for you here coming up on LCJ Live. It's the final month of the year. Got to get in some more movies and some award season contenders. I've seen a lot of them, but I still have a few to watch over the next couple weeks before I submit the ballot for the Critics' Choice Awards nominations. I actually got to do that in less than 10 days, and I still got to see a few big contenders, hoping to get them in, but I've been watching some other ones the last few days. Nosferatu. And some other ones good, like Fire Inside. I enjoyed that, and a few others. I still got to see a couple of them. The Brutalist, Complete Unknown, Baby Girl. I still got to see those, few other movies. And then you've got big movies for the rest of the year that screeners or screenings, probably not before the Critics' Choice deadline, but you got Mufasa, which is going to make a ton of money. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is going to make a ton of money. Now, both of those movies, you could say, yes, have animation in them, especially Sonic, but when we're talking about fully animated features, where 90 or 100% of this movie is animated, this is the second biggest year ever, thanks to the $221 million 5-day open for Moana 2. 85.5 of that coming from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and the other 35.5 Friday, Saturday, today. That's amazing. I mean, I don't think theaters expected Moana 2 to do quite as well as it has. I thought it was going to do very well, and still think it could get to 450, 500 million, probably more at this point, maybe closer to 600 million total. It'll depend on the immediate impact of Mufasa and Sonic in a few weeks. But when Moana 2 did 13.8 on Tuesday, which was an animation preview, Thanksgiving weekend preview record, theaters should have woken up and said, okay, we got to put Moana 2 on as many screens as possible, even more than we thought we had, and Wicked and Gladiator, Red 1, all these films doing pretty well, but that 13.8. Then Wednesday was another $43.7 million. My gosh, just on Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, kids out of school, $28 million on Thanksgiving Day. I mean, look at last year. Look at this time last year. Disney had Wish. I went to a morning showing of Wish on Thanksgiving Day. There were like 3 other people there. And Wish only totaled $64 million. 1 year later, here's Disney roaring with $221 million in 5 days for 5 to 6 days for Moana 2. It's amazing. Inside Out 2, of course, did $653 million early this year. Disney, with the legitimately only 5 Walt Disney Pictures movies in the theaters this year. You had Young Woman in the Sea, which I'm thrilled was at least in theaters for a little bit. Did probably about $1.5 million. That's what I'm guessing. But you have Inside Out 2, Deadpool and Wolverine, the 2 biggest movies of the year. Deadpool Wolverine did $639. Inside Out 2 did $653. You have Moana 2, and you have Mufasa coming out next month, which is going to do really good numbers as well. So Disney's having a heck of a year, even with only a handful of movies. Now, next year, Disney's got more movies because they shifted Lilo and Stitch from Disney Plus to theaters. They're shifting the Freaky Friday sequel to theaters, along with all the other Marvel movies and animated films like Elio and Zootopia 2, which is going to do really well. So you've got all those. Now, remember, Moana 2, and I've got Moana and the new Maui Pez here with me today. That was originally going to be a Disney Plus series, and Bob Iger said, how can we get more money? Let's convert this to a movie and put it in theaters. And look at this. One of the biggest weekends of all time when you look at this 5-day open. Bigger than Mario from nearly 2 years ago. That's amazing. And Red 1, by the way, was also going to be a streaming movie, but now that's been in theaters. So The Rock this year, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. 2 #1 movies in the same month. That's rare for an actor. And they were both originally going to be streaming debuts. And now look at them. 221 for Moana. Red One added 12.9 million this weekend. It's at 76.1 for Amazon MGM. It could make a run at $100 million by the time we get to Christmas. May end up in the 90s, we'll have to see. But look at all this money. Theaters are thriving. Anyone who says the theaters are dying, or will say that again, you have to understand a few things. Number one is not the case. Number two, there are better periods and there are slower periods for the theaters. That was sort of the case back pre-COVID, but no one really wants to remember that or thinks about that there were better weekends than others. And there were bigger movies than other times of the year. That's the way it goes. It's like the stock market. It's like everything else. There are better times and there are worse times, but not catastrophic. You know, we've had slow weekends, but it's all based on studios and scheduling and getting scared about putting things out and competition, scared about competition. Competition is healthy. Look at all of this. Look at Wicked. Added $80 million this weekend up against Moana 2 and is still at a gigantic number 2. $262.4 million. Theaters love when there's more than just one big release out there because the theaters want as many people as possible, as much money as possible, as much concessions money as possible. And the theaters have to understand, if they haven't been prepared for this since COVID, oh yeah, competition is healthy and we got to be prepared to have as many people as possible want to see these movies. You look at families and kids who want to see these movies right away. They got to go to school again on Monday. I got to see Moana 2 because I want to enjoy my vacation and I want to talk with my friends about it. I got to see this movie right away. You have to make sure you accommodate people and don't have sold out showings. If you put films in smaller rooms and smaller auditoriums, and turning families away is a horrible thing. So you got to be prepared. When Mufasa and Sonic come out on the same day on December 20, you have to be prepared for tons of families to go to both. And that's my advice to movie theaters. You got to be prepared because something like this is going to happen again in a month on top of all the other Christmas movies coming out. Nosferatu and Baby Girl and Craven and Fire Inside and Complete Unknown. Adults are going to go to the Bob Dylan movie Christmas Day, and that's going to have a good Christmas Day. So theaters got to be prepared. And Wicked's at 262.4. It's already the fourth biggest, I think it's number 4, biggest Universal Pictures non-Illumination, non-Fast and Furious, and non-Jurassic movie of all time. It's right behind Twisters. It's going to pass Twisters and just climb up that chart. It's amazing that Wicked has done 262 million already. Gladiator 2, respectable numbers in third this weekend. Another 30.7 million. It's at 111.2. That's what If made for Paramount earlier this year, that exact figure. And it's going to get past the 139 of A Quiet Place Day 1 to become the biggest movie of the year for Paramount, which then will probably have Sonic the Hedgehog 3 take that over. Number 4, Red One, as I mentioned, 12.9. It's at 76.1. Number 5, a film that people just keep going to, the best Christmas pageant ever. It's at another 3.3 million this weekend. It's at $32 million. It only needs about 3 or 4 more million to become the biggest Lionsgate movie of the year. And because it's a Christmas movie, it's going to continue to have decent legs over the next few weeks. Number 6 this weekend, Bonhoeffer, Angel Studios. That audience who likes these Angel Studios movies is coming to this film because it's up to 9.8 million. It's made 2.4 this weekend, and it's going to probably get over a few Angel Studios movies that made between 11 and 13 million dollars, and I think it's going to make a run at trying to become one of the top Angel Studios films. Number 7, Venom: The Last Dance. People are still going to this Venom movie. 2.2 million. It's at 137.9. Number 8 is Heretic, which added 957,000. It's at 26.8. It's one of the top 10 A24 movies of all time. Number 9, The Wild Robot. Even with Moana 2, Wild Robot still made 670,000 this weekend. It could have made $0, but it still made 670,000 to come in 9th. It's at 142.5, one of the top 5 movies of the year for Universal. And number 10 this weekend is A Real Pain, which added 665,000. It's at 6.1 million. Conclave did almost 600,000. It crossed 30 million for Focus Features. Smile 2's just under 69 million for Paramount. The film Queer, which opened Wednesday in 7 theaters with a 5-day open of almost $300,000. The Seed of the Sacred Fig, which opened on Wednesday, I believe, as well, 3 theaters, almost $50,000. And Flow, in its second weekend, still in just a couple theaters, another $30,000. It's at almost $100,000 and expands to, I believe, several hundred locations this coming weekend. Pete Crooks watched Emilia Perez last night, liked it a lot, had zero expectations, and the actors were tremendous. The acting is good in that film. The songs are good. I have third act problems. I think it goes off the rails and gets a little more soap opera-y, ordinary. It's not quite as unique as the first 2 acts, so I don't love the third act, but I do think some of the actors should get nominated, including Zoe Saldana. I think that's a very good supporting actress performance from her. We'll see how the award season goes. I do think Emilia Perez has been losing a little awards momentum when you have films like Wicked and Gladiator 2 coming in, doing these box office numbers and getting good reviews. So yeah, this has been a tremendous weekend for the box office, and I hope that it continues. Now, this weekend's interesting because a lot of studios don't love putting out films the weekend after Thanksgiving because this is traditionally the weekend everybody goes shopping. At least the studios have thought that for decades. I mean, I've been following box office for 20 years, and every year pretty much the studios are like, do we dump something the first weekend of December or not? And this year there are a few films, but they're not going to take down Moana and Wicked. They're going to make a little money. But then you've got Craven and all those other movies I've mentioned that'll come in the rest of the month. But you have a lot of small movies opening, like Night Bitch with Amy Adams in select theaters, like The Order with Jude Law. I've seen both films. I didn't love them. Like Y2K from A24, which I think is probably the widest release out of all these films coming out this week. Like Unstoppable in select theaters. A film I liked. Not great, but a good sports drama. That Christmas debuts on Netflix Wednesday. My conversation with Simon Otto is at lcj.podbean.com and animationscoop.com. Mary comes to Netflix Friday. You've got The 6888 with Kerry Washington from Tyler Perry. That's in select theaters Friday from Netflix. This could do pretty well. Push by the Rule Part 2. That could be a pretty good performer next weekend. May make a run at 4th place. We'll have to see how the numbers are. Like the re-release of Interstellar in IMAX. Apparently, all of these showings are already sold out, or many of them are. So if you want to see Interstellar for your 10th anniversary of this Christopher Nolan movie, you got to get your tickets pretty soon. That could perform pretty well. That could get in the top 10, and we'll see how high it gets next weekend. Also, for King and Country's A Drummer Boy Christmas Live, I think that's a Fathom event. That's opening this weekend. And Solo Leveling Reawakening, that's also out. Plus, At Home for television is the new Inside Out 4-part spin-off series called Dream Productions on Disney+. Heck, I wonder if they turned that into a movie, how much money that would have made at the box office. I mean, you think about all that. Like Cars on the Road. They could have put Cars on the Road. They needed probably to add another 20 minutes, but if they added another 20 minutes to Cars on the Road, they could have put that out in theaters, and it probably would have totaled $500 million. Maybe worldwide, because Cars 3 didn't make a lot of money, but with inflation and a new generation of kids, you could add $100 million 5-day Thanksgiving with Cars on the road in theaters. I definitely think so. At least $100 million. So it's something interesting studios got to continue to think about. But there we are. Any questions or comments, send them in now here on LCJ Live. Do you have a good Thanksgiving? I hope you did. I did. I watched the new Mary Poppins special. That was on ABC. As well as Nosferatu. And I can't share full opinion, full review, because the full review embargo still is there. By the way, tomorrow, I'm going to have a new Animation Scoop Q&A with Kenji Kamayama, the director of The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. And that opens December 13. And I'll be able to put that Q&A up tomorrow, but my opinion on The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim is still embargoed for another little bit. I don't even know if I could say what day it is, but at some point soon, the social media embargo lifts, and then the review embargo will lift several days after that. So, yeah, Warner Brothers hasn't wanted people to share opinion, but I am allowed to post my interview with Kenji Kamayama tomorrow. It'll be at animationscoop.com exclusively, and we have a good conversation about the making of this animated Lord of the Rings film, which I watched a while back, but I can't tell you what I think of it. That's the crazy thing about studios and embargoes and timing and all of that. And yeah, that's the way it is. So you'll look for that Q&A tomorrow at animationscoop.com. There's some other Q&As there. There's some other LCJ Q&A podcast episodes available now at lcj.podbean.com, including with the makers of Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, Nick Park, Merlin Crossingham. We talk about that film, which is an outstanding film. And it debuts on Netflix January 3rd. It's in select theaters December 18. Also, Mickey and the Very Many Christmases is on Disney Junior tonight at 7 p.m. It's on Disney Plus tomorrow. I spoke with Tom Rogers and Rachel Ruderman, who wrote this new half-hour CG Mickey special, which is a spin on Groundhog Day. So that Q&A is available on those two websites as well, along with lights-cameron-jackson.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you for watching LCJ Live. Follow me on X at LCJ Reviews, Instagram at LightsCamJackson. Mike Sargent and I are going to do a new Too Fast, Two Films episode soon, but we've got one up now on the website, toofast2films.com. We talk about Memoir of a Snail, which is now available on digital, as well as Gladiator 2. We're going to review The Order and September 5, I believe. I love September 5. It's one of the best films of the year. So we're going to do that pretty soon. And more coming at you this week. And I thought I had a copy of my book here, but that's all right. My Very Rocky Christmas is available on Amazon. Get it for your loved ones this holiday season. My Very Rocky Christmas, inspired by true events. Had another great holiday season Saturday, sharing this story with so many families, and I hope you're able to enjoy it as well. This holiday season, it's available on Amazon. My Very Rocky Christmas, a wonderful story about the tradition of picking out a real Christmas tree. So thanks for being here today on LCJ Live. I hope you have a good Sunday. I hope you have a good week. When we're back here next Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern, we will preview Golden Globe nominations, Critics' Choice nominations. We'll predict how things could go. I'll let you know if I've seen The Brutalist, Baby Girl, and A Complete Unknown. Those are the big three I still got to see. I've got to check out a few others as well. But I'll let you know about that. Because the Golden Globe nominations, I think, are next Monday, December 9th. So we will preview what could be nominated for Globes and Critics' Choice. We'll see how Night Bitch does in its limited release open. That could be a high per-screen average. Amy Adams going for a lead actress in a comedy or musical nomination. We'll see if she gets it. Nothing's guaranteed. No one is safe. No one is lock. No one is a lock for award season nominations yet. You think you are, but there's so many possibilities of how things could go. We're still so early into the award season. In fact, the Oscars is 3 months from tomorrow, March 2. So we still have a long way to go. So we'll talk about all that, and we will preview how Kraven the Hunter and The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim do at the box office following weekend. So thanks for being here for LCJ Live. Happy December. Have a good week, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.